You're looking at the best fed stray alley cat on the planet. Who else is going to feed you 10 pounds of shrimp? Yummy. We're at our famous garage and test track facility. Let's see what we're rolling out today. A very nice looking Acura MDX hybrid. This is a late model 2018, but I'm told the 2019s will be about the same aside from cosmetics, so the specs apply to both years. And it has a hybrid emblem on the side, so all your friends and neighbors will know you want to save the planet. All of the MDX hybrids are all-wheel drive. We'll explain that a little bit later. If you think you're looking at red paint, you're wrong. Acura wants you to know this is San Marino red, not regular red. So now you know. The base price of a non-hybrid MDX is around $45,000, but if you load it up with all the goodies, you run around $57,000. The hybrid comes loaded with everything standard equipment. I can't read off all the goodies, the list is too long. Vintage seats, leather, wood. If you're a fast reader, here you go. No options, everything's standard, flat $59,145. Acura says the price difference between an all-wheel drive non-hybrid and this hybrid with all-wheel drive is only $1,500. Sounds like a good deal to me. If you watch my videos, you know one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they perform. I'm definitely looking forward to testing these. 5 bulbs on each side. And just like Acura invented a fancy name for this red paint, they invented a fancy name for these LED headlights. They're not LEDs, they're LED Jewel Eye. Got it? Okay. So let's move on. The sun's gone down, so let's see how these evil eyes do in the dark. Look pretty bright to me. Here we have the low beams on a building 100 feet away. A very wide spread. Very bright as well. Go to the high beam. Lots of light here, so now we'll go to the 300 foot level. Down the street and see what they do then. Here we have the brights on the building 300 feet away. Plenty of light, height, and width. No complaints here. Go to low beam. Goes out all the way, even if it is on the ground. I'd say these are very nice lights. The main artery of any hybrid is found under the hood, so let's take a look and see what we've got here. The non-hybrid engine is a V6, putting out 290 horsepower, rated at 19 to 27 mpg. In the hybrid, we have a 3-liter V6, seen here, with a separate electric motor on the right rear wheel and a separate electric motor on the left rear wheel, which of course accounts for the all-wheel drive classification. Total combined horsepower is rated at 321. The highway fuel economy is rated the same as the non-hybrid at 27 mpg. The difference is in city driving, where it boosts up from 19 mpg to 26 mpg, according to the EPA. We'll be racking up some miles to see if that's true, so you want to stay tuned for this video. Unlike other hybrid vehicles that give us those horrible CVT rubber band transmissions that I cannot stand, we get a real transmission. In fact, a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. How's that for performance? The shift system is very easy to use. You got park, reverse, neutral, and drive. And since there's no lever sticking up, saves a lot of space. I like this design. Amazingly, a lot of people on YouTube and the car publications hate this design. I don't know what they're complaining about. Seems like a superior setup to me, but that's me. Since we're sitting in the cabin, we might as well take a closer look. I found the materials and workmanship to be outstanding, as you would expect in a high-end luxury car. Comfortable seats, nice smooth leather, vintage seats of course. A very nice gauge cluster. 2 screens, one for the audio, another up here for the navigation. A decent sized glove box. And unlike other luxury cars, it's not electric, manually operated, and does have a lock. Thank you. Don't need an electric glove box. An extra large console between the seats. I'm told this is real wood. It looks it. Yesterday it was 117 degrees outside. Today it's going to be cooler at 100. Either way, I really appreciate this excellent air conditioning. The cold air that's coming out of these vents is fantastic. I can't complain about it. Nice and cool in here. Second row seating, enough for 2 full-size adults or a case of tea. You do get third row seating. Actually have some legroom back there too, unusual. This is sold as a 7-seater with the second row bucket seats. We're down to 6-seater. But that's okay. Let the 7th person take a cab, right? So far I've showed you all the good points. There are a few negative points. And if you've been watching other YouTube testers that have driven this vehicle, they don't have a good opinion of this infotainment system. I have a few gripes about it myself. In regards to the climate control, the first day I got in this vehicle, it was scorching hot outside, like 180 degrees inside. I wanted to find the air conditioning and turn up the fan speed, but no, we don't have a knob. You have to do this. Then you have to scroll on here, then get out. 3 things to do instead of a knob that would only take 1. As far as the radio goes, you only have 3 choices at your fingertip, where other screens usually give you up to a dozen. I'm not going to spend the whole video covering this. Just to say it's a little outdated. It needs to be updated. With practice, you'll get used to it. Another beef, and if you watch my videos, I complain about this on a lot of other vehicles. Underneath the door, the rocker panels are way too wide, and every time you step out, your leg is rubbing on this, which collects the dirt, mud, and grime from the outside. Close the door, you see what I'm talking about. But hey, they have it nice, shiny chromed, so it lights up the dirt a lot better. If you live in a place with bad weather, lots of snow and mud, you might want to keep a rag and Windex happy to wipe this down every now and then so you don't use your pants to do so. Now let's go over to another subject. The difference between an SUV and a car is an SUV has high ground clearance, so it has the ability to go off pavement. If an SUV does not have high ground clearance to do so, it's not an SUV, it's a station wagon. We have a very generous 7.3 inches of ground clearance under here, making it more than adequate for going off pavement. And that being the case, I was going to take it to the lake this weekend, but unfortunately I can't do that, and I'll show you why. If you're going off pavement, you have to have a spare tire. If you don't, very, very risky. No spare tire in here. And I looked underneath. Plenty of room to put one. But in the Acura Hybrid, you don't get one. All of the hybrid manufacturers tell you they don't give you a spare tire to save weight and get better fuel economy, maybe so. Then again, maybe they're doing it to save a few bucks in production costs. Spare tires aren't cheap, you know. So just in case, I have my spare tire kit. And I just might go off-road to the lake anyway and take my chances. We'll see. I got 2 air pumps and 4 cans of stop leak in there. Might help. If you're out on a dirt road where there's no cell phone service, it better help. By the way, these third row seats do fold down, of course, and fold flat. Plenty of room for gear or taking a nap. Okay, this includes the first half of the video, which is show and tell. Second half, we're going to go out and do some driving and get some real-world fuel economy figures, not the fake EPA figures that other car testers give you. That's what you're here for, right? By the way, this is one of the few hybrids that requires premium fuel, at least according to the owner's manual. Take note. The first thing you need to know before you're driving is you have a button here called the dynamic mode. Gives you a choice between comfort, normal, sport, sport plus, and a hybrid. Imagine that. We'll use normal for the time being. Starting with the power steering, it has pretty good feel and response. No complaints. I think you'll like it. I've been driving this vehicle for several days. I can tell you it's one of the smoothest riding SUVs I've ever driven. Should be interesting to see what we do on the speed bumps coming up. I'm going to cheat and put it in the comfort mode. Here we go, 25 miles per hour. Bump number 1. Didn't feel a thing. 30 miles per hour. Smooth. Another one. Here comes the big nasty one. Pretty smooth. Really absorbed the impacts quite well. I'm impressed. Ordinarily, I wouldn't take a hybrid on the turning circle, but hey, if it's got a Sport Plus mode, it should corner right. Let's see what happens. Can we get some wheel spin? Maybe spin it out. Got some wheel spin, but sticking to the road pretty good. Thumbs up for me. With the 321 horsepower, the massive torque of the battery system, and a 7-speed dual clutch, and a Sport Plus mode, this thing's pretty quick when you want it to be. Let's give it a run. Whoa. Like I said, quick. Oh yeah. Hope we got good brakes. Yes, we do. Some of the automotive publications claim the 0 to 60 time of 6 seconds flat. I'm not sure if we can do that. If we can, that's pretty nice. Let's see. Hybrids don't function well in the heat, so surprising I'm getting any acceleration at all. Well, let's see. I didn't time that run with my stopwatch, but this vehicle is definitely quick enough, trust me. If you like shifting for yourself, no problem. Just put it in the S mode. And your S confirmation will come up on the panel here. Then with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel, push left to downshift, or right to upshift. And the gear you're in will show up on the panel here. And I would like to thank Acura for putting the paddle shifters on the steering wheel where they belong. That means your shifters are right by your fingertips, regardless of the steering wheel position, which means they can always be reached. Unlike the goofy Italians who put them on the steering column, which means when you're turning the steering wheel like this, they can't be reached. They belong on the steering wheel like this, like most manufacturers do. As usual, I'll get some hate mail from Ferrari owners telling me how wrong I am, and then I'll respond telling them how right I am. So get those emails coming. I'm sure you're watching this video to get the fuel economy, so here's some computer readings for you. The driver that had this before me, I know who he was, drove in the city 177 miles, got 22.8 mpg. Many drivers before that racked up 1,341 miles, average 23.2 mpg. See, says so right there. By the way, the MDX has a very nice camera system that just popped up. Uh-oh, intruder alert. Anyhow, getting back to fuel economy, I was getting 21 miles per gallon in heavy city driving when the temperatures were cool. But for the past 100 miles, I've been driving in extreme heat, 100 to 116 degrees. So our fuel economy dropped to 17.9. Actually, it was 18.2, but we're sitting idling, so it dropped a few points. Just for comparison purposes, ordinarily a Toyota Prius hybrid, in normal temperatures, we get around 42 mpg in city driving, but in this heat, around 34 to 35 mpg. Again, extreme heat gives extreme results. We have a lot more fuel economy testing coming up because we have a lot more fuel in the tank. So stay tuned. By driving at night when it's nice and cool with no traffic, keeping my foot off the accelerator as much as possible, 50% expressway, 50% city, we did actually get 27.5 mpg. I think that's the best we're going to see because tomorrow when the heat comes out, I'm sure this figure will drop quite a bit. We'll see. We're going to reset the fuel economy computer and take a highway trip. Let's see what happens. Just a note here, the outside temperature is a nice cool 95 degrees. A lot better than yesterday when it was 114. We're going to be cruising around 65 to 75 miles per hour. And this is a very nice vehicle to take on the expressway. Very smooth, quiet, and comfortable. And luxurious. Pretty hard to beat if you like taking lots of trips. We're going to get off the freeway, see what our fuel economy was. 24.2 mpg compared to the non-hybrid I drove last year, 25 mpg. Close enough. Now we're going to reset the mileage computer and take another freeway trip. On this second fuel economy test, we're going to be going from 2,500 feet elevation to 6,500 feet elevation, approximately 100 miles. Then for part two, we'll do a return trip from 6,500 feet to 2,500 feet. Add up the mileage, divide by 2, and see what our fuel economy was for our interstate trip. So stay tuned again. The amount of bottom end torque supplied by the hybrid system makes climbing these steep mountain grades very easy. Very impressive. Vehicle's not strained at all. We're coming to the end of our steep climb. We're going to pull over and see what our fuel economy was. 22.6 mpg. Not bad considering it was all uphill. And of course we have the return trip coming up, so don't go away. I said at the beginning of this video I was going to cancel my trip to the lake because I don't have a spare tire and it might be a problem. I got a flat, but I figured, what the heck, I'll just come anyway. If I get a flat, the worst that'll happen is I have to walk 30 miles and I need the exercise anyway. So here we are at the lake. With 7.3 inches of ground clearance and all-wheel drive, this vehicle does pretty good off-road, as it should since it's an SUV. Just keep in mind the front bumper hangs rather low, so be careful in entering dips. You don't want to bang it on a bunch of rocks. Like doing so here. Otherwise, no issues at all. And the suspension does a pretty good job of absorbing impacts on these rough roads. A lot better than the speed bumps. We're going to reset our fuel economy computer and get back on the freeway to make our return highway trip. 100 miles downhill, 6,500 feet to 2,500 feet. So don't go away. We just completed our 100-mile freeway trip, so we're going to pull over and see what our fuel economy is. Our return trip, 108 miles, 31.2 mpg. If you take 31.2 coming back, Add 22.6 mpg going up, add them up, divide by 2. I think that puts us around 27 miles per gallon, exactly what the EPA claims. So I guess we have no complaints there. And in the 348 miles of driving thus far, we averaged 22.1 mpg. So what's my take on the MDX after a week of driving? Well, if you like comfort, this is definitely a way to go. One of the most luxurious SUVs I've ever driven. In cooler weather, obviously the fuel economy will be better, but hybrids don't like heat, and I think the 19 to 27 is the best we're going to see. Frankly, the engine and torque output from this engine hybrid system is so great, I really didn't care about fuel economy. This was really fun to drive. Plenty of power, no complaints there. And all yours for only 60,000 bucks. What a deal. Plus the cost of a spare tire and jack, which I'm sure you're smart enough to order after you get the vehicle. So here are some links to other fancy SUVs we've driven lately. Just click and watch.